Hi there, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. I'm Andrei, and in this video I want to show you how to, let's call it post-process a 3D render in Photoshop. I got a lot of requests to make this tutorial, and well, here it is. This is, I would not call this a finished work, but I will not continue because I think you will already get the idea. This is the final result of this, and let me show the starting image, which was this one. So I started from here and I added all these elements here and I ended up with this. So I want to show you some of the things, or maybe give you some advices, or maybe show you how I made this, but I will not remake the whole scene here, the whole image, just the major steps, so you can see some tips maybe how you can do this. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is that you will need a lot of stock images to make this kind of artworks. And one advice that I would give you is, if you're a 3D artist, if you make this sort of architecture renders, try to add as many details as possible in the 3D software, because you will make your work a whole lot easier in Photoshop. So try to add as many details as you can, especially, for example, here on the walls, the textures, windows, or everything that you want to have inside, even if they are low resolution. Just add them there, because you will make your job a lot easier in Photoshop. Okay, so this is what we are going to see in this tutorial, and well, let's get started. What I will do is copy the same image here, copy merged, because I want to create a new document with the same dimensions, and I will not, under PSD box, I will not paste that image here, because I will start again. So what I will do is get my render image, which is this one. This is the folder where I had some renders. I don't remember where I got this render from. I got a few of them, and I decided I would use this one. Okay, so this was the original image with the sky and everything, and I have a few others here which I could have used, but I preferred this one because that way I could put some stuff here. But you can see I have a few ones. I don't remember which one sent me, but they're in Spanish, I guess, because a lot of people, as I said, requested this tutorial. I also wanted to use this one, but it's the same building, as I see, but the part that I used was this part here. So I used this once. When you export a 3D render, usually in programs like 3D Max or other programs, you have the option to export the alpha channel, which is this black and white image, and we will use this to make the mask, to mask our image here. So what I will do is open both of them in Photoshop. When you open these two images, copy the alpha channel here, copy it and copy it on top of the original image. And now they're exactly one on top of the other one. And if they're not, what you can do is unlock layer 0, select both images, and select the move tool, and then use this alignment tools to align the layers. Sorry. And now on layer 0, create a layer mask. So I have these two layers, one on top of the other one. On layer 0, I created the layer mask. And what I want to do now is copy this part here onto this layer mask here. So I'll select the top layer, press Ctrl Command A, and then press Ctrl Command C to copy it. And I'll hide this for now. And what I want to do now is activate this layer mask on the here on the canvas. I want to see it here. So what I will do is press and hold the Alt key on the keyboard and double click on the layer mask, or just click once, and then I can press Ctrl Command V. What you see here is the layer mask here, this thumbnail. You can see it on the canvas. And what I will do now is press Ctrl Command V to paste that layer here. Okay, so you can see that now this thumbnail here is copied here on the layer mask. Now I'll press Alt and backspace again, Alt and click here, and you can see that now Now I can delete the top layer. You can see that now that sky that was here is gone, and we also have this transparency here. Okay, and I'll disable this layer mask so you can see it. Okay, sorry. With shift and click, you can disable the layer mask. Okay, so we use that alpha channel as a layer mask here to remove the sky. Okay, so what I can do now, I have this canvas here. I'll get the move tool, select this layer with its layer mask, make sure it's locked, and I'll click here and drag to my other tab here, and now I'll let go, and you can see it brought this layer here with the layer mask here on my canvas, and I still preserve that layer mask there. Now I'll delete the background. The next thing that I did for this particular image is I wanted to correct the perspective of this, because you can see this building is it's not straight here. So what I did is I converted this into a smart object, and then I went to filter and chose lens correction. This is not necessary for all images, but depends on the camera, on the field of view that is set when you render the image. You can get this sort of distortion. So what I did is I went to the custom tab here, and then you can play with this vertical and horizontal perspectives. Okay, the horizontal, we will leave it as it is, but we can change the vertical perspective because we want to have this building straight here. You will lose some quality when you do this, but well, and then click OK. So that way I correct that part there. And after that, you can either use for example, this part here is no problem. We can cover this with a texture, for example, and here we can use the clone stamp to clone the stairs, or you can simply crop the image using the crop tool, like that. In this case, I didn't want to crop it too much because I didn't want to lose this part here. So what I did is I covered that with a tree, I think. Yeah, you can see that there. Okay. So that's how I corrected the perspective of this layer. Okay, let me show you the original here. I have this smart filter, so this was the before and after. Okay, so I think what I will do is copy the same image so we don't have any problems with that. Okay, so once you get here, remove everything. What you need to start to think is what kind of mood you want for your image. I wanted to create this sort of a sunset feel. That's why I used that kind of sky and this kind of lighting. So as I said, you need a lot of stock images and elements to add here. And what I do have is a folder with stock images. I have here in my hard drive. And I classified all the stock images that I download from the internet. And for example, I have one called Sky, and here I have a lot of sky images. I don't remember which one I used. Let me see if I can find it. I'll use this one. I don't remember. It was this one. Okay, so I got this one, and let's open it with Photoshop. Okay, so I copied that and paste it on a new layer here under my building. Okay, so you can see it's really big, and I can make it a bit smaller. So what I want to do is cover the part of the sky, including this part here. Okay, so I have my sky here on the background. I don't have too many things, but I added another stock image. And one of the most important things that you need to take care of is when you search for stock images, you need to find images that have the right lighting and the right perspective. For example, I would assume that my light comes from here, even though you can see that shadow here, which makes me think that the light actually comes from somewhere here. So what I did first of all is started to add the main elements. For example, I wanted to cover this part here, so I used an image of some grass that I found. This one, for example. I'll give you the links to all of these images, and you'll have the PSD file. You can download it for free from my website. You'll find the link on the video, which will take you to my website, and you'll find the download links there. So I used this grass image to add some real grass here. So the first thing I want to do is create a layer mask for this and get the polygonal lasso tool and start creating a selection right here, like that. Okay, so this will be my layer mask, and I'll reactivate this layer and select the layer mask and fill this with black. And of course the layer mask now is inverted, but I can press Ctrl Command I to invert it. And what I want to do now is unlock this layer mask here, because I want to be able to move this grass here without moving the actual mask. So what I will do now is try to make it smaller. And as I was saying, the biggest problem here is finding the right perspective. That's why I chose this sort of a field here, and finding the right lighting. So that will be your major problem, and you'll spend a lot of time searching for the right images. That's why when you use an image, don't just delete it after you used it. Just create some folders like I have here on my computer, and you can surely use those images on other projects. Okay, so I'll leave that grass there, and you can see it's quite a bit different than this. It's a lot more realistic. We will deal with this part a bit later. And the next thing that I did is I started to add some trees here to put on top of this, because these were some really low resolution plants that were here. And DeviantArt is a really good place to find stock images like this. You already have them rendered, so you don't have to cut them. You don't have to spend time doing it. So what you do is just go here to DeviantArt, and for example, let's search for some trees. So just type tree, PNG or transparent or something like that. And you can see lots of trees here. Let's use this one. It's a lemon tree or orange tree, and you can see you have like tons. This one was made by me, and I think you can see this one here. It's also really good, but some of them are really low resolution. You can see these one are as big as you can see them here. They're no larger than that. So let's try and use this one. So what we can do is, you can see this one is really high resolution. Okay, and what you do is just download it. Make sure you keep the name of the file as it is, because here this is the name of the author, so you can give credit when you publish your work. You can go back to DeviantArt and find this author and put a link to his account. So let's save our image. Okay, so this is my saved file. I'll open it in Photoshop. You can see that it's a transparent PNG file, so you don't have to spend time cutting it. So I'll just copy it and paste it on my canvas here, and you can see it's really big. If you want to use it several times, you can convert this into a smart object, for example, and that way you preserve the editing capabilities and the original size of it. Let's scale it down to about 20%. Even so, it's huge, so we have to make it even smaller. Something like that. Let's flip it horizontally. You have to be really careful with the lighting. I don't know if this one has the correct lighting, but anyways, you can make slight changes. For example, on the layer styles for this particular tree, you can, for example, if the light comes from there, what you can do is use a gradient overlay, change the angle like that, and maybe change this to soft light, and you can see that way you make this part a bit darker and this one is a bit brighter. So it's a small change, but it's noticeable. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Also, one thing that you need to do is organize your layers palette, because you will end up with a lot of layers. So make sure, for example, that you make groups, for example, for plants or things like that, so that you can organize your layers palette, because you will and rename your layers, because in Photoshop CS6 you can use this you can use this filter, for example, to find a particular layer. Okay, so let's create this group, press Ctrl Command G, and let's name this trees. And I will use this folder to add all my trees, except if I have to add it somewhere, if I have to add it on top of something else, and maybe I will have to put it outside, but I will try to add them here. Let's find another one. Let's see if I have something saved here. You can see I have other types of vegetation here. For example, this one. I'll give you the links to all of these files so you can download them. But keep in mind that they are not made by me. So if they're no longer available, you can search for something else. So we can put this here, flip it horizontally, maybe. I don't know, maybe put it there, zoom in a bit. It's a low resolution image because the canvas was small, the building was small, so I couldn't do too much on that. I'll create a layer mask, and with the brush tool I can get rid of this part of the vegetation there. So it's as easy as that. Okay. And that way we manage to hide that part there. Okay, and I have other renders on my other folder. Let me find it. Right here, let's go back, and here on the renders folder, I have, for example, plants. You can see all the plants that I have here. These are rendered files. Let's open this one. So as I said, I will not go through the whole image because it takes a lot of time, and it's just a matter of getting the stock images and place them on your canvas and adjusting the lights if necessary, and place them on the right spot. Let's add it there. And I do want to show you something. The perspective, as I said, is important because this tree here should be bigger than this one, and sometimes it's hard to tell how big or how small something should be. So for example, here I added this rail thing here, this sort of separation here. So what I did here, I used the perspective grid, and I'll show you how to do that. Let me find the other stock image that I used. Okay, so this was the image that I used. I'll open it in Photoshop, and luckily it's a PNG file. So what I did is I copied this and I pasted it right here, okay? And you can see it's too big, and I will make it a bit smaller, but not too much. I want to convert this into a smart object because I want to keep the quality. So even if I make it smaller and then I want to make it bigger again, I want to keep the quality, okay? I'll make it about, I don't know, maybe it's a bit too big like that. About this big right here. And of course I have to adjust it to my perspective here. So what I will do is, the ideal would be to find something a bit shot from the same perspective as this, but I couldn't find it, so I had to deal with this. So I distorted it using the perspective and just place it here. And you can also use the distort to just make this fit your image. Okay, so something like that. I want to place it there. And what I want to do now is duplicate this and make that thing that I had here going off into the distance. But you need to have something to guide you. So what I did is I created a guide. I created a new layer and I named this guide. And I went to filter and choose vanishing point. And this is available in Photoshop CS5, I think. And what you can do is get this grid here, this create plane tool, and click once here and follow this line. Okay, follow that line. Okay, something like that. And now create your perspective and click on the top there. And this is not correct. You can see it's red, so it's not right. Let me zoom in a bit, about 200%. And we have to adjust these points until you see this, until you see it's blue. But of course, when we get here, we want it to be smaller. So I want to drag this down a bit. Okay, so what you have, once you have this, all you need to do is duplicate this part here, this thing here, and just make sure you adjust it to this grid. And there's a way to have this grid on the canvas. If you check this, if you click on this icon here, you can check this option that says render grids to Photoshop and check that. Okay, make sure it's checked. Then click OK. Okay, so in this new layer that we called guide, we now have that grid, okay, which is the perspective grid. And I'll use that as my guide. And now I'll name this railing. I don't know the name of this thing, so sorry for that. And I'll duplicate it with Control Command J. Let's name this railing 2. Get the move tool, move it there. Let's zoom in a bit. If you work with high resolution images, it's a lot better, but you can put this on top of one another if you want to. You can just leave it like that. I don't know if I would do this on an important project, but what I want to show you is how to use this perspective grid, and do your best with using stock images that you have, and then press Control Command T to load the free transform. And all you need to do is choose the perspective, and now adjust this to this line, okay, to this perspective grid that we have. Ideally, you want to have both ends touching the line, but let's do this with both of them, so that way let's select this one as well and readjust it to our perspective grid. Okay. And then you can see this one is bigger, so what I want to do is maybe use the distort tool like that, and now move it slightly, maybe on top of this one, like that. Even slight changes in perspective are noticeable, so make sure you follow this grid until you get to the point that you want to finish this, because otherwise you will find things that don't look right. If I leave this like that and I deactivate the grid, you can immediately tell that something's wrong here. So make sure you follow this grid and adjust the object to that grid. Let's make this one and let's move on. Leave it there, and with the shift key you can move both ends at the same time. So if you click and press the shift key, and with the perspective you can adjust both ends at the same time. Put that there. Okay, so let's leave it like that and deactivate our perspective grid. I would not delete this. You can create a group, we just call it grids, for example, and maybe give it a color just to make to have a visual reference that these are the grids, and leave it on top of everything. And that way you can, well, you can create grids for everything. You can trace a grid here to, I don't know, maybe if you want to add something here and you want to have the right perspective. Okay, the next thing that I did is I added some light posts here. Let's see if I can find them. Oh, here, these are more trees that I have. I'll post this on my website on the resources tab. I don't remember where I got this from, so if you find you made this pack and you want me to take them off, I'll do it. But I don't remember where I got them from, so I cannot give credit. So here inside the objects, I have this lamppost, and I have some others. The same way you search for this tree here on DeviantArt, you can find light posts, for example. See here another pack of trees that we just saw earlier. Okay, so for example, this is another PNG file that it even has the light effect there, and I think I used this one. Oh, it's really Oh, it looks okay. Let's download it. Okay, so I think I used this one. Let's copy it. And again, using a perspective grid would be ideal, but since I only added a couple of them, I didn't think it was necessary. Okay, it's too big. So at this point, what I would do, let's name this lamp. Right now, I don't know exactly how big or how small things should be because I don't have too many reference points. But that's why I usually convert this into smart objects, because that way when I'm done with everything, I can scale things up or down without losing quality. So let's make this about this big. Put it here and then just duplicate it with Control Command J and place it here. And you can see it's huge, so I have to make it smaller. And that's why I said the perspective grid in this case would be nice, because I could make it look more realistic. Let's leave it there, maybe. See how it's not looking right, because that building is not straight, and I have to make this follow the same line, otherwise it will look weird. Leave that there. Let's hide those grids because I don't like them. Maybe make this just a bit smaller. And leave the shadows and light effects for the end, okay? The first thing you want to do is add all the elements and make it look more realistic. And after that, you deal with the lighting, shadows, and things like that. But of course, you can see this lamp has this small highlight on the right side. So all these details, keep them in mind. And when you start, make sure you already have a main light source somewhere, so that way you make everything consistent with that light source. Okay, then I added some benches here, I think. Oh, yeah, it was this one. Okay, so I used this. It already has the shadows, but in my case, I think those shadows were wrong. We're not in the right place. So I made this smaller. But you can see also the perspective was not completely okay. But if you take a bench that was shot from the front, you cannot use the distort tool because it will look really weird. So in this case, you have no other choice than finding a bench that has the same perspective or something really close to your scene here. With the perspective, I can correct it slightly like that, and now I can convert this into a smart object and make it smaller. It's still too tall in this part, so I'll use the distort tool like that. Now it looks a lot better, I think. Okay, I'll leave that shadow as it is. I will not remove it. Okay, and then duplicate it and put it there, and you can see how big it is. So let's make it a bit smaller, like so. I think it was too small, something like that. So once you put objects close to each other, you can more or less start to see how big things should be. I'm making this really quick, so also keep that in mind. Don't post comments telling me that this is too big or something like that, because I'm doing it really quick. And then more elements. The more details you add to your scene, the better it will look. Then I added this sort of recycle bin or this paper bin here. I think I will use if you want to hide those guides, you can see them here. You can press Control Command H and they will go away. And what I will do is use the magic wand just to select everything, and the next thing that we will add are some human beings around here, and we'll move on. As I said, I don't want to spend too much time adding too many elements. I just want to show you what I did. And see, I will take this bench as a reference and make it more or less that big. I don't know if it's too big or not, but what I want to do is flip it. You can see this part is brighter than this one, and in this lamp we have the highlight on the right side, so let's do the same here. Let's flip it horizontally like that. Okay, so we have that paper bin there, bin. And let's add some humans. Well, the first thing I want to do, let's fix this part here. It's really easy. I use the clone stamp. You can tell right away that the light is coming from the left, from the top left, because you can see the shadow here. But anyways, as I said, I hid parts of those shadows, so you can make the light as you want. Okay, let's clone that part there. Okay, and let's do the same here with a smaller brush. Let's get this line to be perfect like that, and then clone from here. So cloning is not too difficult. Okay, so we have this part fixed. That's how I fixed those stairs. Okay, let's add the humans. Now, finding people to add on your scenes can also be something that can be difficult to do, I admit. But what you can do is take pictures from people outside and just add them to your composition here. Just make sure you don't show their faces or things like that, because you can have problems. But what I used on the original was a pack that was also sent to me by one of you guys that made the request, and you can see I have this. I have two packs: People Pack 1 and People Pack 2. And these are TIFF images. These are layered files. I'll open them with Photoshop. You can see that these are layered images. So they even have the shadows, which is a nice detail. So what I will do now is I will not merge them. I will get the move tool and do the same. Drag them to my canvas and let them drop them here. And I want to close this without saving. I want to close this one as well. So let's see, where are they? Right here. Let's put them on top of everything under our grids. And I'll press Ctrl Command G to create a group, and let's name this people. And let's name group. And I'll select this two and then name it people 1. Okay. So what I want to do is now link these two layers, because these are the shadows and the cutout. And press Ctrl Command T to load the free transform, and of course I have to make them smaller. Let's try about 20%. They're still huge. Let's make them even smaller. So in this case, take this bench and this light as reference and place them there. I would leave them about that big and convert both of them into a smart object. So linking them has no effect now, because this is a smart object and the shadows and the cutout work as a single layer, so it was not necessary to link them. But you don't want to repeat people, so in this case it was almost unnecessary to make them as a smart object. The reason why I did it is because maybe I want to make them smaller or bigger in the future, and I want to preserve the quality, but you can leave them as a normal layer. So let's leave these 3 girls there standing. So we also have those shadows, which is nice. And then let's go back to our pack and maybe try finding another one. Let's try these 2 guys. Okay, so let's close it and open it with Photoshop. Again, let's only leave this 2. I'll actually merge both layers and drag them to my canvas and drag them outside. So it's not necessary to make a group for each group only, for each person that you add, if you think it's not necessary. I'll make them smaller, and I'll place these ones here, these 2 guys. Wanna zoom in a bit. Let's see how big these guys should be. Something like that. I think they're a bit too big. Okay, something like that. And leave them right there. Okay, so that's how you add all these elements. It's just a matter of adding as many details as you want. I think I could use this one. Yeah, I think it's quite big. Let's open it with Photoshop and see it. Yeah, this one will do. Let's copy it and I'll place it right here on top of everything. Control Command V. And let's make it smaller. About 50%. Let's see if that works. Okay, so you can place that there, and these are really good if you want to hide things. For example, if you want to hide something, you can put a tree there and that's it. Or you can put them on the background below my building there. Paste it there, and of course I have to make it smaller. So maybe it's a bit boring, but that's what you do when you make this kind of artworks. All you need to do is just add elements. Of course, if this is a skyscraper, you don't want to put a tree sticking from behind because no tree is that big, but I'll assume these are some small buildings and that's it. Okay, so they will make your image look a bit better. So let's deal a bit with the light now, because you've already seen how to add these elements. It's just a matter of putting the stock images there, and that's it. For the lighting, what I did is I used adjustments. For these lamps, I used the screen blend mode. I'll do it really quick. Just create a new layer and choose the screen blend mode. Make the brush a bit bigger. Decrease the hardness, and let's try a color which is not too saturated, and just boom, you have your light there. Okay, and the same with the other one. It's under it's right there below the tree, so let me create a new layer right there. You can see I'm not even naming the layers anymore, but you should do it. Okay, and let me show you the original. I'll go back to the original because I want to show the adjustments on that one. Okay, so let's disable everything except the light. Let's start from the bottom. Okay, so let me activate the building itself, which is this one. So you can see how I started adding trees and stuff there on the background to make it look a bit more natural. Then I made a few adjustments on the building. I wanted to make it a bit brighter, but not big deal. Okay, those are the shadows. Some guy standing there with a cell phone, the grass. And these are some, yeah, those were the shadows. You can see everything that I added there. All these plants and stuff to just hide things that I didn't like. That's why I said it's a good idea to add as many details as possible before you render your image. Okay, these are the trees, more bushes, and that other guy there. This is that railing that I added. Paper bin, another copy of it. The lights. Okay, I had 3 lights here, and this is the grid that I used. Okay, I created a grid following this line, and then I followed the top of this one, and I kind of imagined how much the distance, the distance there and how tall this one should be. Okay, so let's keep adding stuff here. Some ivy that I added here, you can see there. And let me activate all the rest of the layers. This is the perspective of this grid, the perspective grid there. More people. And we're getting to the light effects. Okay. Okay, so I started with the gradient with the gradient map, and you can see the effect that I got. As I said, I wanted for a I went for a sort of a sunset effect because I wanted to add light effects. Light effects always look nice, and these were the shadows. Okay, and what I did is I used this gradient map. I used it on hard light. You can see the colors that I used. I don't know. I used these colors because I like them, and then more shadows here. I painted them with the brush tool, and then I created another layer which I set on screen to make this glows of light. The screen blend mode is really good for making this sort of glows. Okay, and then I created another layer on color dodge, and this is just to make the lights even brighter, more vivid. With the color dodge, you need to use really dark tones because let me set this to normal so you can see them. They are almost black. Okay, so make sure you use really dark tones of color when using the color dodge blend mode. And then I created yet another one again on color dodge to add some light, maybe inside the building, around it, just to add some life to it. Okay, that's why I said if you have lights inside the buildings themselves, some wall lights or things like that, they will make your job a lot easier when you're in Photoshop. Here I would have, I cannot just paint some lights there. I did it here, they look, well, they look nice, but for example this one here, it just looks out of place because there's nothing here, it's empty. That's why I said just add furniture or whatever you can before you render it. And then I added adjustment layers like curves. I made selective adjustments inside the channels, but well, as I said, you have this PSD, so you can download it and see and analyze it and see what I did. And then I used another gradient map on screen. The screen blend mode always makes the whole image brighter, so take a look. And I wanted to have that sort of golden look to the image. And when I got here, what I did is I created a stamp. So select the top layer, press Shift, Control, Command, and E, or Shift, Control, Alt, and let me do this again because I Shift, Alt, Command, and E, or Shift, Alt, Control, and E to create this. What it does is just takes what you see on the screen and creates another layer. Okay, so it combines everything on a new layer. That's what it does. And I used the lighting effects filter to add some sort of vignetting here. See that? Just a bit of I like that. This is what I do on my manipulations. So that's how I created this sort of scene here with light effects and all of that. As I said, it all depends on your image. I don't have cars here. I just have some people and some plants, light effects, and that's it. It's pretty simple. As I said, this is not finished. This part here, it's too empty. There's nothing here, so it maybe could be a bit better, but I think it's a lot better than the original. Let's see the original again. So I think it's a lot better than this. I cannot disable that. Okay, so it's a lot better. So I hope you liked this. I don't know if I should call this a tutorial. It's not really a tutorial, but well, maybe it works as a guide for you. Maybe you learned something. As I said, I'll give you all the renders and the links to the images that I used here. And if you're the author of these cutouts, just contact me and I'll take them off the website. I don't remember where I got them from, so I cannot give credit. And that's why I will upload them on my website. So well, that's all for now. I hope you liked it. Thanks for following me, and see you on my next tutorial.